No hardware at WWDC? M4 in a Mac? When? In fact, when are all the Macs coming? First, let's talk about software updates, and then we'll look at the hardware roadmap. And if you've been wondering where I've been, that'll all be right at the end. We'll even do WWDC bingo predictions. First, iOS 18. A new look, but probably not as huge as iOS 7 from iOS 6. You'll get way more control over your home screen and be able to change the icon colours. Note, perhaps not custom icons easily, but maybe colour by category, which I assume would be based on Apple's AI to produce a two-colour version of an app icon and allow you to pick the main colour or the background colour or the highlight or both. Pretty neat. Maybe you'll even be able to pick a gradient, or Apple will intelligently add a gradient based on the main colour that you chose. Either way, you'll be able to make your iPhone a little bit more personal than it has been in the past. And yes, Android has been able to do custom icons forever, but this is likely to be a bit more guardrailed and probably a bit more tasteful. There's also rumours that we could see custom options in Control Center, general touch-ups across the board of Apple's own apps, and of course the huge AI upgrades that we've been hearing about will likely show themselves in more than just Siri. Now, that action-packed strapline that we've seen too sounds a lot like the promises made and broken by the Rabbit R1 and their large action model, so I've got a feeling that we might see Siri having way more access to your apps and the ability to perform actions in them based on your requests. How great would it be for Siri to finally be useful? And of course, Apple's privacy focus will extend to their AI tools. While some tasks will be on device on the Neural Engine, what happens off device is apparently going to be on Apple Silicon powered servers with their own secure enclaves. And somehow, Apple has a way to do the operations without decrypting the files. That sounds impossible, but hey, what do I know? iPadOS 18. As usual, iPad will get whatever the iPhone got last year. Bazinga! But seriously though, I'm already standing by for all of the takes straight after the event, when I'll be doing our traditional live stream, by the way, as well as right before the event to get the hype going. I'll be standing by for everyone complaining that iPad is still running iPadOS and not running macOS. However, I think there's a non-zero chance that Apple has a similar feature to Catalyst, which brought iPad apps to the Mac, that goes the other way for the M-based chipped iPads. So you'll be able to run individual Mac apps potentially with an easy wrapper for developers to add to their Xcode projects, which might allow it to run on that iPad. Basically a way to bring over all of the frameworks that wouldn't already be on the iPad and kind of wrap them up into the app. That might just be enough to keep some of the iPad Master Race kids happy. WatchOS 11. You know what? I got nothing. Maybe there'll be some new workout styles added to the fitness tracking, maybe a new watch face designer that gives a bit more freedom with adding complications and colours, but beyond that I've got no real ideas, so please let me know in the comments what you think is missing from watchOS. And longer battery is not an answer here. I know what you guys are like. macOS 15. Here, again, it's tricky to know what to predict, but based on Apple's AI push, perhaps we could see Apple Sherlocking products like Grammarly, Notion, and Text Expander, helping you to reword your writing in different tones and styles for different settings. Will we get a visual overhaul with macOS too, like iOS? Maybe, but Apple has a way of staggering these things, so macOS kept its OS X look until Big Sur in 2020, while the iPhone got iOS 7's flat look way back in 2013. And that is a big gap. But wouldn't it be great if we did have a nice visual upgrade across the board, maybe with some of that visionOS transparency flavour? Speaking of which, visionOS 2, Apple Vision Pro has only been in the hands of real humans since February, and not that many real hands at that, and it is still only available officially in the US. However, it is pretty much as magical as you'd hope. I got to spend an hour or so using it with Sigmund a couple of months back. The depth is incredible, another level compared to Meta and Pico headsets. Now, I imagine we'll hear more from Disney about some more environments and some more immersive content that's coming in future. Could we see new functionality coming with the Apple Pencil Pro becoming some sort of a magic wand? The barrel roll function would work perfectly. Being able to squeeze to click could be useful, and there are also accelerometers in there, which I believe are used to make the double tap work, so it would be very easy as well for Vision's cameras to track something like a bright white Apple Pencil, so that's pretty cool. I also think we could see some more immersive games with Apple Arcade, akin to the AR stuff that Apple used to show at the previous events, taking over your coffee table with a game of Warhammer or something. tvOS 18. This is sadly a place where I think we're going to be waiting on new hardware upgrades for the biggest changes to come to Apple TV, but that being said, in the past couple of years we've had things like FaceTime with continuity camera added, picture-in-picture for HomeKit cameras, VPN support, and a new control center. I'd love to see a more games console focused feel for the Apple TV, with a ray tracing supporting chip being added, so something newer than an A17. First party Apple games controller would be really cool, but what are the chances that they actually nail that first time better than Sony and Xbox, who've both been making them for decades? Probably pretty low. But would it be too much to have an option where when you search for a movie or a TV show, it shows you where you can already stream it on the services you have, rather than going straight to buy it or rent it in iTunes? So that's the big stuff. Right, here is Shay's bingo card, so let's see what we think we will get from here. iPad calculator? Yeah, I think so. Event shot on iPhone. The last couple were, but I have a feeling this one might not be. We're not talking about hardware here. Mark Gurman said no hardware releases, so I'm going to go out on a limb and say no iPhones as cameras. Choosing the colour of icons in iOS, yep. iOS major redesign, I think it'll be noticeable, but I don't think it will be enough that everyone will agree it's major afterwards. Surprise hardware, I'd love to think it, but I don't agree. Vision Pro international release, surely, but I've been saying that for months. Default iOS apps refreshed with AI. Some, but not all of them, yes. RCS support in messages, yes. We know that's coming, but I doubt it gets much stage time. AI mentioned more than 10 times? Absolutely. Arranging your apps in iOS, I mean, it's an easy win for Apple. New iPhone 15 colour? Surely not this late in the day. Vision OS 2, why wouldn't it be? Craig Federighi doing something goofy? I hope so. We need more Craig memes. New Siri AI features? Surely a given. Magic Eraser in photos? Yes, but I think Apple will do something unique with it as well. Not sure what, but they will. Some AI features need in the iPhone 15 Pro? Probably, and it might be a Pro phone differentiator going forwards. Android versus PC comparison? Probably not. We're not talking about hardware here, and it's normally the chips where Apple does that comparison. iPadOS adds Pro features? I mean, that's so subjective it's hard to say. What counts as Pro? New message send effects? Sure, why not? Over 90 minutes long? Yes, it's normally 2 hours, so I don't see why not. People loving the Vision Pro in a video? Yeah, absolutely. And CarPlay getting an update? Yeah, I think it'll get a mention. I don't think it'll get an update as such, but I think we'll get an update on cars coming with CarPlay 2, because that's really what we want. Right, hardware time. If Mark Gurman is right and there's nothing coming at DubDub, then I think iPad 11th Gen and iPad Mini 7 in September, along with the new iPhones and the Apple Watch 10, nice and easy. October, Macs. Mac Mini with M4 and M4 Pro, iMac with M4, MacBook Pro with M4, M4 Pro, and M4 Max. And AirPods Max with USB-C and basically nothing else new. Then in January, MacBook Air 13 and 15-inch with M4. I'm not expecting any major redesigns for any of these Macs, to be honest. Basically, just the updated chips, maybe some new colours, and maybe the odd I/O or wireless upgrades. But then M5 perhaps at the next WWDC, and that iPhone Slim that we've been hearing about with the 17 generation, well, I don't think it's going to be called the Slim. I think it'll be called the Ultra, and that's going to be a story for another day. But Apple does tend to follow the iPad Pro designs. If you think about it, the 2018 iPad Pro is then what basically kind of inspired the iPhone 12 designs with the flat sides, and now we've got the thinner ones, so I think that might well be what we're seeing next year in the iPhone. And that's kind of it for the hardware things, right? We are done with the Apple stuff, so if you're not interested in why I've not been here, you can go now, but thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. And if you are wondering where I've been for the last week or so, I had the barbershop convention, which we went and sang. And then as I was coming to go back to work after the bank holiday weekend, I had a little bit of a mental health thing. And my doctor signed me off for a couple of weeks with depression and anxiety. So I've been feeling a little bit down, a little bit rough. I've got some meds, I've got some help. It's all kind of being looked after. But I just wanted to say thank you all for still being here. He says before seeing if anyone actually watches this video. But yeah, if you are feeling down, do talk to someone. It does help. It makes you feel much better. Hopefully going back to work very soon. So yeah, just wanted to catch up with everyone and let you know. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you to my Patreons for being here, and we will see you in the next one. Don't forget, we've got all these live streams coming up for WWDC.